What innovations excite you the most right now in the green construction space?
Yeah, I would say the power management is probably the most innovative at this point. The power management campaign takes into account every aspect of power in the building. Industrialized metaverse training applications can help factories bring skilled workforce up to speed before they even step foot on the plant floor. They can basically determine right ass, right seat.
Welcome back to the Advisor AI Solutions podcast, where we highlight the innovators and leaders shaping the future of construction, sustainability, and technology. I can't wait to get the conversation started now. If you've ever wondered how modular construction, factory precision, and cutting edge materials are transforming housing, this conversation will give you a front row seat. I'm joined today by TJ Hammerstrom, founder and CEO of Hopewell360, a company pioneering offsite precision built sustainable housing solutions. TJ's work integrates modern design, modular efficiency, and green technology, setting a new standard for how homes and communities can be built. TJ, welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thank you, Jordan. I'm glad to be here. Um, Pleasure. So,
Great. So, TJ, let's start with your journey. TJ, what first drew you into the world of modular and sustainable construction, and how did that lead to launching Hopewell 360?
well, it's quite a story. About 8 years ago, a couple of colleagues of mine came to me. They approached me and said, TJ, what are we going to do about housing costs? Housing costs are they never seem to be going down. Um, they continually they seem to be out of reach, for the normal consumer. And it appears that the American dream just keeps slipping away further and further. Home ownership, um, or just attainable housing in general. Each of these colleagues individually command their own silo of activity. One's a supply chain guru on a global scale, and the other is a manufacturing guru on a national scale. And so my response to them, and the reason they came to me is because my skill set is primarily pre-development. Land assembly and entitlements are kind of my bailiwick. And so I've been doing that for 23 years. And I said, well, why don't we each put a couple $100,000 into the pot and we'll figure it out together. And, uh, to date, there's a couple $1 million in the pot now, of course. But what we ultimately decided right away out of the chute was manufacturing had to be the solution. It was something that I hadn't explored or done a deep dive on. And since that initial discussion with my colleagues, we've put together a team called Hopewell360 that focuses on building net zero ready product. Not all the consumers are looking to spend the innovative tech that's necessary to bring the building to a full net zero compliance, if you will, battery or solar, power management activities. But our goal is to bring net zero housing to scale, and doing that through volumetric modular construction it's the only way we can see that it's going to actually have any kind of a way to move the needle to make it happen. So the journey has brought us basically around the world a couple different times in various countries. We as U.S. citizens, we're only 4.5% of the world's population. There's other ways to do this. And so when you visit Japan and China specifically, you'll find that the volumetric programming they have achieves 30-40% more efficiencies per square foot than we have currently in the U.S. And so 8 years ago when we started this, we thought, well, site selection was going to be the biggest challenge. And it turns out after about a year of that deep dive, that's not the issue. We got plenty of land. It's capacity. We don't have factories that are capable of producing any sort of volume that the market demands. Within our region, the Twin Cities market, there's 9 call it mom and pop shops that build stick frame single family homes for builder dealer networks. And after visiting all of those guys and trying to convince them to build an 84 unit building, of which we had a model for, we got 100% turned down by all of them. Not any of them could handle that sort of a work order. And so that, got us to thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to be forced to build a plant is really what's going to end up ultimately happening. So during our manufacturing investigation, I came across Jason Carter, who is he's been in the mod business as a manufacturing guru, specifically for modular, for the last 23 years. And so I consider him a founding partner of Hopewell360. And he has no doubt he commands one of the most intelligent approaches towards volumetric modular construction that we've seen. And so he's designed a factory for us. It's a light gauge steel factory. It's a 200,000 square foot production floor facility that we're in the final throes of our capital raise for. We've raised 42 of the 45 million we need. Hint, hint to the crowd out there. We're looking for $3 more million to finalize this first of its kind light gauge steel factory. And we're looking to launch that factory in the spring of 2026 here. It'll produce about 1 million square feet on an annual basis of volumetric construction. And we're looking to capitalize that both in the Twin Cities market and in the Dakotas, North and South Dakota market. So the plant has about a 400-mile radius as far as what markets it can service, and we're looking to get that thing fired up here this coming spring.
Wow, TJ, that's a unreal story. Thank you for sharing that. You guys must have had quite a bit of conviction early on to be willing to commit such a large size investment. But to finally be able to closely spell that finish line there, to seeing it become fruitful in the form of a factory now. Congratulations, by the way. That must be very exciting for you and your team.
Yeah, I know it's been quite the journey. Along the way, we conceived the inception of 2 other plants that are now up and running. They're not owned by us, but we were able to at least consult with them. Our initial approach was to go to them to invest in our programming, but they chose to do it on their own. And because of it, those 2 plants are up and running and very successful in the Minnesota market, and they help prove our concept. So they're wood stick frame modular models versus what this new plant will be, a light gauge steel version. But nonetheless, they're successful on their own, and it helped us understand more about what our capabilities are as a team as well. So it really worked out well.
That's awesome to hear such growth that you guys are experiencing. TJ, Hopewell360, you guys are known for building uh, efficiencies up to 80%, with offsite homes and controlled environments. Can you, for our listeners, break down how this process improves sustainability, efficiency, quality, in comparison to traditional on-site constructions?
Well, there's enough YouTube videos out there for folks to get a mouthful of it, but I can give some additional flavor, or additional color, I should say, to that. When you're working in a climate controlled environment as a construction team, and you're working on a production line where each phase of the build is its own workstation, and you got, in our case, you got 26 different workstations. That modular unit that ultimately builds it's a Lego block, if you will, of the bigger build. That modular unit can't move to its next workstation until it's been fully inspected by the state and fully inspected by internal inspections as well by the plant for quality in workmanship, quality in the design, in following the specs of the design, and in the assembly of each of the materials for that workstation's responsibilities. Those efficiencies, when you capitalize on that from one workstation to the next, ultimately builds an envelope that structure will be able to surround itself with, that's tight beyond what a stick frame on-site construction build could ever even conceive. All of us have manufacturing products that we carry around with us every day: earbuds, headphones, cell phones. Look at the tolerances that we have in those manufactured products, and ask yourself, why don't we have those same type of tolerances in general construction? Well, if you take your new Ford truck or whatever brand vehicle you would like to buy next, and you told the factory or told the sales guy, yeah, I would like to have that brand new vehicle, and he suggests that, no problem, we're going to come over to your driveway, we're going to dump all those parts, all 3,000 of those parts for that new truck in your driveway, and then we're going to send a team of professionals out there as well to build it for you, so you'll have your own brand new truck. How do you think that's going to turn out?
Yeah, have fun.
So that's how construction's done. That's how we as a country have known it to be done over the last 250 years. Um, Modular is on the scene. I think it's the new way to look at how housing is deployed. It's an intelligent way to do it that is safer. There's a lot of advantages to it that we won't have time today to talk about all of them, but insurances are expensive, and the reason they're so expensive is because of all the history of what construction sites um, bear as far as risks. And so modular construction de-risks the entire construction model at every turning point.
Right. It sounds like, it's definitely trending in that direction, but it sounds like it's going to flip the whole construction timeline on its head. I've even seen manufacturers in the automotive industry now building cars. I think it's Ford that's come out with a new concept to be able to build a vehicle in three different lines and then have three modules basically and be able to install them on a separate line together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's a lot to learn in the manufacturing world for the various products that we consume. Housing has just been such a lethargic industry. The construction industry as a whole has been so lethargic. And it's time it gets looked at from a different lens entirely.
absolutely, couldn't agree more. Now, TJ, you guys have incorporated features like solar PV, EV charging, smart home controls, and net zero design principles. What innovations excite you the most right now in the green construction space, and maybe how are they shaping your projects?
Yeah, I would say the power management side is probably the most innovative at this point. Um, the power management campaign that we are working on and envision being deployed when this plant gets built takes into account every aspect of power in the building. Um, Everything from AI controlled thermostats for each of the condo or apartment units to it controlling also the shades. AI can control the shades uh, and make sure that thermal that thermal imaging that the sun kind of helps uh, gets blocked or opened up accordingly, depending upon the climate and where that building is located on the planet.
Hmm.
I think it's the way to really optimize how a building operates. When you tie that in to the actual occupier, when the building knows when you're coming and going, or how many people are coming and going, it and you tie that in with AI and with the HVAC system and all the window shades, you've got the ability to really micromanage each of the units to a level that's never been done before. And through the manufacturing component, we're able to pre-wire all that and pre-program it, if you will, so that when it does hit the field, it can start to optimize those units right away.
Right. Those are great points. So, like, not only are you guys future proofing the homes, making them smarter, making them healthier, but you're also taking it to efficiency. But also, people forget that sometimes sustainability can also, create a ton of comfort as well.
Yeah, lighting, all of it can be programmed to the to the occupant's preference, and um, you know, um, I don't foresee us being too far away from the unit actually becoming an aid for the occupier's health. So, um, doctors prescribe all kinds of medicines for us, and how they lose control, a lot of control with the patient after that patient goes out, out of their office. They can just prescribe everything. You can lead the horse, but you can't always, make them drink, right?
Right.
In this case, I can see some of the AI and some of the tech in these units being baked into certain profiles of maybe senior living that would allow that monitoring to be done autonomously, so that there could be weekly, daily, hourly reports depending upon what that patient's needs were. If the actual unit was optimized with those kinds of sensors,
Right.
we all got to go to the restroom. There's no reason it can't monitor a lot more than just take care of the human waste. It can take care of a lot of other things too.
Right, right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, TJ, I know we know it's not true, but I know one of the challenges in modular housing is public perception. Some still think prefab as lower quality. Like, how do you guys overcome some of these misconceptions, and what do you guys see changing in how buyers and investors, especially, view sustainable modular housing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I used to have a challenge with that. I'm in it now so deep. All I can say is we'll show you. We'll bring you to the builds that we're doing right now. We'll physically walk you through. Let's take your concepts and your preconceived ideas about what modular is, and let's show you what it really is today. So it's not stacking trailer houses on top of one another, I can assure you.
Right. I love that. So the proof is really in the results. Once people start living in these homes, the perceptions are going to dramatically change.
Yeah, totally. Yep, no
Cool.
question.
Okay. So looking ahead, say 5 to 10 years, what do you guys see as the biggest opportunities or even challenges for green construction and sustainable housing in the country?
I think the biggest challenges that we face right now are going to be with the municipalities and their inspection process. Getting ahead of that game as plants like the one we're proposing become more prevalent around the country. Right now, I think building permits that are pulled in a modular fashion only take up. I think it's only about 3% of all the building permits that are pulled are done in a modular fashion. So when you look at the opportunity for what modular has, given that low percentage, um, the inspectors are going to need to get boned up. I mean, modular is controlled typically by the state, not by the local jurisdiction. But the local jurisdiction is the one that controls all of the on-site activities. Um, Even though they can't really inspect anything behind the walls because it's already been done by the factory, um, they still control how all the inspections happen for all the connections, fire suppression, elevators. I mean, all these things that they control the inspection process for are subject for disruption right now. Um, Modular elevators are being produced out of Arizona. They're already being produced all over in China. Um, you know, Fire suppression. That's another thing. Fire suppression is a big deal. If you've ever been through a fire inspection on a multi-tenant building, it's those guys seem to walk on water. It seems like, but but modular is proving itself in every corner of the inspection process. Um, and it's just a matter of just bring to get it to scale. We're going to have to be able to set up it, training accordingly with each of the municipalities, as these plants become more prevalent.
Right. That challenge, it's been echoed by, so many of our guests already. But, I love that framing, and, challenges are really hopefully opportunities in disguise in the future.
Yeah, we're finding that a lot of the inspectors are kind of aging out, if you will, and so and again, with the advent of TikTok and YouTube and all the social platforms, uh, it's not hard to come up with examples to be able to show folks, that maybe have a lot of skepticism, how it's done, how other ways there, how many other ways there are to approach the same challenge. Um, and when we use modular as the platform to do it with, I mean, it's a proven practice in all aspects of it. It's just not done enough. And so I think that's going to be our biggest challenge is getting everyone through that learning curve.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, just getting everyone up to speed and getting them educated on what's available and what, the potential of the benefits, I think is huge.
yeah. One of the other things too that we haven't touched base on is how we get all this workforce uh, readily available and prepared to work in the modular world. And again, that's another opportunity we see as an opportunity anyway, to take innovative tech approach towards training, and industrialized metaverse training applications can help factories bring skilled workforce um, up to speed on each of these workstations and how they operate before they even step foot on the plant floor. So they can
Right.
determine, they can basically determine right ass right seat. Are they equipped mentally and physically for this challenge? Does it make sense? Will they be happy in it? And if we gamify a little bit of the training and the actual operations of the plant, I, I don't see any reason why we can't make this a resilient workforce that is happy to work in the construction world that normally they wouldn't. That's again where the factory makes the opportunity uh, more available for women. Women are absolute detail perfectionists when it comes to fit and finish, and getting more women into the construction field and workforce, I think, would be very advantageous.
I love that concept, being able to pre-qualify workers on a very high degree prior to even taking a step into a factory. But then, having fun with it and adding that whole gamifying concept to it as well, I think that creates such a great place to work.
Yeah, yeah, we're looking forward to that aspect. The industrialized metaverse approach is something that we think is highly viable for putting these factories online a lot quicker with a lot more qualified and talented individuals. Yeah.
That's very exciting. Now, TJ, before we wrap up, we just like to ask our guests just a few rapid fire classic questions here. The first one being, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Reread your emails before you send them.
Yeah, that's very very useful.
I know it sounds kind of crazy, but we get excited, we get convictions, you know, contagious, if you will. But we got to just make sure we slow down enough to make sure we elaborate accordingly.
Right. Punctuation also goes a mile as well.
Yep, that's true. But I love
Note your commas and periods.
yeah, right. I love the AI refreshing modes of email writing. It's helped out a lot of these last 8 months.
No, it helps you become a little bit more thorough, right?
Yep.
Okay, our second question, TJ. If you weren't in construction and development, what career do you see yourself being in instead?
If I were to work in construction and development, what career would I see myself being in instead? I think I'd probably be an architect. I'd probably be that's what I would probably focus on the most. I don't know if I answered that question accurately there for you, but I think
No,
that
no,
would
that
be.
makes a lot of sense. I can see a lot of your traits, being very transferable into that field.
Mhm.
Um, and our last one, if you could leave our audience with one key takeaway about building for the future, what would that be, TJ?
I think it would be look to the past. Honestly, look at the Jetsons. You know, the 1960s cartoon. So we're 50 years or more now, 60 years past when those writers were actually writing. And we already got the smartwatch. We don't have the flying. We almost have the flying automobiles, autonomous driving for sure. But I think looking to the past will help guide us in how we promote the future. When it comes to technology and housing.
Right. No, I absolutely love that. That's something that our listeners will definitely be able to take with them. Now, TJ, this has been an inspiring conversation. We've covered everything from modular efficiency to green innovation shaping the future of construction. But before we sign off, where can listeners connect with you and Hopewell 360? Potentially investors, whether it's your website, LinkedIn, or other platforms.
You bet. You bet. I appreciate that. Hopewell360.com. And if you want to email me directly, just go to info@hopewell360.com and you'll be able to get a
Awesome.
hold of me directly.
Terrific. Well, TJ, thank you once again for joining us for the work you're doing to build not just homes, but sustainable communities. And to our listeners, if you guys have enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and share it with others in your network who care about the future of construction and sustainability. And until next time, automate the ordinary and scale the extraordinary. Thanks again.